remember Stefan Schwartz, Claudia Reyna at the USA. Stefan played for Switzerland, Sweden, and they wanted to go and play. But I lost. He had to finish through it. So it's a really difficult scenario for club managers who pay the wages for these lads to go on international breaks. I mean, I used to love playing for my country, but Howard Kendall, who was a coach at Athletic Bilbao for the spell, used to pull some of us out of squads if we weren't 100% and we weren't going to play for our countries. So is going away on international duty.
So you can categorically say that you didn't lean on the players, and maybe you might have to explain to our audience what I mean by leaning on the players when it came to those decisions.
I think lean is a really harsh word, Joe. I think we were diplomatic. Diplomatic in our discussions about the lads going away.
What's more important then, because I want to put this to the vote, for you personally, Peter, and I'm asking you to put your player's hat on here, club or country?
Hey, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Because I was so proud to play for my country, but obviously the club pays your wage, so I think it's a too difficult call. You ask Ramos to call, you ask Modric to call, and I'm not sitting on the fence. If you're good enough to play for your country, it's an honour. It's an honour. Pardon?
You are sitting on the fence, so you're going for country. Well, listen, is that your answer?
If you ask Sergio Ramos, would he like to play for Croatia? I bet he said he wouldn't.
Unfortunately, Sergio Ramos room or Kevin's living room, so therefore I can't ask him that question. So I'm asking you, club or country?
Joe, can I just say, do you know when you have an international break, can we get at Facebook Watch and at La Liga, the sports science team to give you a medical next time before you come back, please?
Still hasn't answered the question. Are you going to answer the question? I'll ask Kevin just to give you time to think. Club or country, Kevin?
I know, listen, players are proud to play for their country, 100%. But it's got to be the club, Joe. The club is where they spend most of their time. The club is who pays the wages, as Peter rightly pointed out. And that's where you get most of your glory, is with your football team, the club. So I know it's a difficult tiered system where your country is the bigger picture, but the peak lies mostly too. And that's got to be the club.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for not sitting on the fence. Peter Reid, you have just a few moments while we have a look at the results from our vote. 56% say country. Wow.
Well, you asked Lionel Messi, would he have liked to have won the World Cup with Argentina?
I'm not asking Messi and you asked, or Ramos or anyone else. I'm asking you.
Hold on. Iniesta and Joseph, got to be your country, mate.
Finally. I don't know whether you're going into politics or what, but finally we get an answer.
No.
Right.
I look playing for Croatia. It was great.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to some gupshup after that. Has taken up multiple school initiatives in our part of the world, and one of them is La Liga Football School. Today we have the students from these schools telling us what they learn and how Real Madrid inspires them at La Liga Football School.
Real Madrid is the best team in the world because it always fights for titles.
I've learned from Real Madrid that being number one is the only option.
And the winning mentality will always be there.
It teaches me to do what I love
A club that never knows when to give up.
And I also like the club because of its Galacticos policy, and they have won the most number of La Ligas till now, so that's why I have always liked the club.
According to me, the player who inspires La Liga football schools the most is Sergio Ramos.
Due to his leadership skills, dedication and commitment to the football.
I like how he works out.
And I think he is the only player who has won a World Cup and 4 Champions League titles.
The ability of a midfielder, the strength and game-leading ability of a defender.
So player like this always inspires me to give my 100% at the pitch in every single moment.
Have faith, for we will prevail. Hala Madrid.
Love that. I wish I had some school as La Liga football school back in my time. Oh well, it's back to you, Joe.
Did you see some of the trophies there? They had more trophies than Real Madrid, Kevin Campbell. Did you see them?
Yeah, I did, Joe. Joe, but I've got a little bone to pick with you, Joe.
Come on, then.
I want to know why you are curbing me saying Hala Madrid. Why do you always do it to me? You don't want me to say these things? Have you got a problem with me, Joe?
Do you feel there's an injustice here?
100%. It should go to the vote. You've been out of order to me, Joe. Very bad to me, as always. But you know what, Joe? Happy April Fool,
what?
Joe.
It's now the 3rd, Kevin Campbell. But anyway, you can say
This is our day back.
I said it. I said it.
I knew I'd get it out of him. I knew. Well done, Joe.
I said it.
We need to see that again.
You goaded me. You goaded me and I took the bait. You can say, Kevin Campbell, now, Madrid, okay?
Come on!
So thank you very much from a very nervous Mr. Kevin Campbell. I just want to remind you, by the way, we have a QR code competition that when this is all over, this pandemic, and when fans can get back in the stadiums and when people can travel to Spain, it could be you. It could be you to watch Real Madrid against Eibar. Actually, well, we hope it'll be at the Bernabeu when it all opens up and the renovations are finished instead of the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano. So good luck with that. Prediction time, please. Peter Reid, you can go first with the prediction.
I think Real Madrid will win 3-0.
Okay, Kevin Campbell?
I'm going 2-0, Real Madrid.
2-0, that's not very confident from our glorious Real Madrid fan, Mr. Kevin Campbell, but hey, we'll go with it. Right, thank you very much, gentlemen. The players are in the tunnel at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano, so let's head straight to join your commentary team for this game. It is the one and only And West, and alongside him, the one and only Rick Sharma.
Enjoy a super production shot on more than 20 cameras using the latest technology. It's not fiction, it's not a thriller, it's something much bigger. And after 90 seasons, the excitement is still intact in soccer. It's La Liga.
Six points off top spot in La Liga, and with a Champions League tie against Liverpool on the horizon as well. It is time for Real Madrid to move into champions mode for the final 2 months of the season. But today's game, not only about Los Blancos, Eibar have everything to play for as well, next to bottom of the table in La Liga, but a win in this game would take them out of the relegation zone. So every incentive for Eibar to be positive as well, and it should be a very competitive game today at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano. Rick is alongside me. Rick, good afternoon to you. How was your international break?
Hello, Andy. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I had a nice break, and now I'm ready for these last 10 matches. It's a bit like last season, you know, when there was the coronavirus stoppage and then there was 10 more games to go. It feels a bit like that. This is the last phase of the season now. No more breaks, no more interruptions, just the title race and the relegation race at the bottom, which Eibar are really hoping not to be in. And it's not normal for them to look at a visit to the champions as a potential possibility for them to pick up points, but it might be today because, like you say, Madrid have that huge week ahead of them with Liverpool in the Champions League and then the Clásico.
And this is the side that Zinedine Zidane has selected for today's game. A few absentees with partly injuries and partly Clásico in mind, and an interesting team selection as well. 3 at the back with Eder Militao coming in alongside Nacho and Ferland Mendy. 5 across midfield, Marcelo and Lucas Vázquez as the wing-backs, Casemiro, Luka Modric and Isco, with Marco Asensio partnering Karim Benzema in attack. So an interesting lineup there from Zinedine Zidane, Rick, and not entirely expected either.
No, it's a little bit of a surprise that with Ramos out, he's also decided to rest Varane, and Eibar will look at that as a potential area where they can hurt Madrid, because Kike Garcia is very strong in the box and he might fancy his chances against Militao in defence.
The Eibar coming into the game in poor form. 11 games without a victory in La Liga, 4 draws and 7 defeats in their last 11, hence their position in the bottom 3. This is their side today. Only one change from the side that drew at Athletic Club, a good result in the Basque Derby before the international break, and that is Pedro León, a former Real Madrid player, coming onto the right wing with Kevin Rodriguez dropping down to the bench. But as well as Pedro León, former Real Madrid player, Rick, one man will have all eyes on today is Bryan Gil after his Spain debut during the international break. The 20-year-old winger is going places for sure.
He was fantastic for Spain, made a real impact, and he can play on the right, he can play on the left. He mainly played on the left for Spain, and I think that he's going to look to try and find gaps with this 3 at the back system. There's normally a bit of a gap behind the wing backs, Lucas Vázquez and today Marcelo on the other side. So we'll see where Bryan Gil finds the space today, and he can really damage Madrid.
And as we see, Marcelo not only in the starting lineup for Real Madrid, but also wearing the captain's armband in the absence of Sergio Ramos, who is out for another spell on the sidelines. There's been a lot of debate about that in Spain, a lot of suggestions that he came on as a substitute late on for Spain at an unnecessary time when he was just back from injury, purely to add some caps to his name. As we see Karim Benzema receiving the La Liga top player for March award. Very well deserved for him. Benzema in fantastic form, 17 goals and 6 assists this season. But just back to that Ramos point, Rick, do you think there's any justification in those complaints that Ramos brought it upon himself by just adding caps to his collection in pursuit of becoming the all-time leader?
I think so, you know, Andy. I don't think there was any reason for him to come on with the game 1 against Kosovo with just 4 minutes left on the clock. It was needless.
And it ended up with him missing out, not just today, but also for the Champions League tie against Liverpool and El Clásico next weekend, of course. Another big game on the horizon. But first, Real Madrid have got to deal with what is in front of them, and that is the challenge of Eibar, who are renowned for their high pressing. They don't like to sit back. And despite their poor goal-scoring record this season, they are an attack-minded team. Even if that hasn't led to many goals this season, they try to come forward. And interesting hearing the coach, José Luis Mendilibar, yesterday saying, we're going to have to score at least 1 goal. As in, we're not going to go and try and get a 0-0 draw.
That's right. I think it's the right attitude to take, because you can't play a team with Karim Benzema in it and expect him not to score. I mean, you have to say with the form he's been in lately that a goal is the most likely thing. So Eibar are going to have to get a goal of their own if they want any points. And Mendilibar said that the normal thing is that Madrid dominate this game and they have more of the ball, and we do suffer in some moments, but if we can just survive those, we have a chance.
Karim Benzema was undoubtedly the key man for Real Madrid in their last game before the international break. 3-1 win at Celta Vigo, where he scored the first 2 and then assisted the third. And 3-1 win as an early whistle against Casemiro for his foul on Kike here. Won the ball, but then went through the man.
Back in Peter Reid's day, I'm sure that wouldn't have been given as a foul.
Kike Garcia, and we saw winning that free kick, scored a fabulous goal when the teams met earlier in the season. It was a 3-1 win for Real Madrid in the end after a really fast start, but here's Papa Diop trying to test Thibaut Courtois early on, punched away as far as Bryan Gil, who then couldn't get the better of Eder Militao, but early encouragement for Eibar as the space really opened up there.
Yeah, they've started well, Eibar, and Diop's not a regular goal scorer. He got an important goal recently against Huesca to snatch an equaliser and a draw for Eibar. He's had another go there. Decent save by Courtois.
Now Luka Modric, newly installed as Croatia's all-time leading cap maker. Oh, it's Benzema in from a terrible back pass, but he can't finish. Great save from Marko Dimitrovic, rescuing Eibar after the suicidal back pass allowed Benzema to go clean through.
Well, it should be 1-0 to Real Madrid, shouldn't it? Benzema, he was so intelligent just to read the back pass, but then he couldn't finish. A great save by Dimitrovic.
Ale Porto, it was the right back with the error. Ran straight to his keeper to thank him after making that save. Corner, though, played in, and now Benzema with the flick that just goes beyond the far post. But two early opportunities for Karim Benzema. Excellent save, though, by Dimitrovic, who's expected to leave Eibar for Sevilla in the summer. He's out of contract, hasn't signed a new one, and there's reports he's already agreed to join Sevilla, and showing his quality there with that save.
Yeah, that's why they want him. He did so well not to go down early. He stood up as Benzema tried to take it round him, but he just didn't let the Frenchman go past.
So Dimitrovic showing his quality early on, as now Eibar look to build down the left, but Rafa Suarez sending it too far into space for Eder Militao. Now Nacho, playing in the heart of defence today, the middle of that back three for Real Madrid. And what a good season Nacho has had. What an underrated player he is as well.
For sure. I think in the past, you know, he's had to play at left back, he's had to play at right back, he's had to play at centre back where he'd prefer to play, and that versatility has kind of made him just seen as a guy who fills in and isn't really worthy of his own spot. But this season, can't fault him for anything.
This is his 16th start in La Liga. Nacho, he has played more than 200 games for Real Madrid. Here's Marcelo, nice turn, nice cross. Benzema, no mistake this time. Brilliant play from Marcelo to find Benzema at the far post. All smiles for Real Madrid. And the breakthrough early, but no, it's been chalked off for offside. He's offside there. It will be looked at, and Rick looks like that's a good decision.
I think so. It's going to be a tight one, but it did look just about offside. It's brilliant play by Marcelo to whip that in. And a good finish from Benzema, but he is off.
Confirmation from the referee, Isidro Diaz de Mera. No need for a lengthy review from the VAR official, Martinez Munuera. And another let-off for Eibar. But that's twice now in the first 5 minutes that Karim Benzema has very nearly got the opener. They're going to have to take that as a lesson and learn from it.
They're going to have to learn quickly, Andy, because the third opportunity is going to be put in by Karim Benzema. No way he's missing the third one.
Eder Militao winning the good header. Luka Modric brings it down. Carried on by Lucas Vázquez. Poor ball, though, too far ahead of Benzema, who couldn't control. There's a fresh air kick from Alex Garcia. Gives possession back to the home side. Casemiro with the cross to Marcelo, who will very much relish his wing-back role. Finds Benzema. Laid back for the shot from Casemiro. Takes the solid block from Sergio Alvarez. And it's back to Courtois. But a very open start, Rick.
Very open, and I think Madrid have now taken control. You know, Eibar started well, but Madrid have got the ball and have started to create chances at ease almost. And this is good news for Zidane, because I'm sure part of his thinking would have been, oh, my player's going to go out there and concentrate today, knowing that the Liverpool game is coming on Tuesday, knowing that the Clasico is coming. And it looks like they are. They look fast and dangerous.
Here's Diop in midfield. Over to Pedro Leon, the 34-year-old winger who was at Real Madrid around a decade ago. Under Jose Mourinho's management at the club, never really got much of a chance. And he's largely been overlooked by Eibar this season. This is only his 9th start, Pedro Leon. He'd love to prove a point against his former club today. But possession quickly won back here by Real Madrid with Eder Militao to Nacho. Are we entirely sure it is a back three, Rick? At times like now, for example, they're going to a back four with Mendy pushing almost into the left back position. Certainly fluid, at least.
Yeah, I think part of that is due to Marcelo's love of rampaging up the left flank, and I think Mendy feels like he should go out to the left back just to cover that space as well.
There's confirmation of the offside against Benzema. Just getting beyond the last defender. Looking for Marcelo down the left. Ale Potho with the header safely back to his keeper this time. Another aspect of the formation, Rick, is who will be the support striker alongside Benzema. Something we talked about before we came on. Would it be Asensio or Isco? And in the early stages, it looks to be more Isco playing through the middle, with Asensio we can see now on the right-hand side.
Yeah, that's right. And I think when Marcelo goes up on the left, Asensio can mirror that on the right to make the formation a bit more symmetrical. And I think it gives Isco a bit more freedom than he would have if he was just in central midfield. It's an interesting one, Isco, because for me, he's lost the shine that he used to have. And this season, he's got 1 assist and no goals. So he's not necessarily the player you'd expect Zidane to pick to help support Benzema in this way.
Yeah, and it would be surprising if he starts any of the big games coming up against Liverpool in the Champions League or Barcelona next week in El Clasico. But he's a player that Zidane keeps on going back to. He's never frozen him out. And here's Asensio finding Marcelo. Casemiro's in the box, goes down. The referee has a look, but doesn't give a penalty. And I think the cross was beyond Casemiro. Wouldn't have got on the end of it anyway. I'm not sure how much contact there was either. But again, Marcelo finding space to get in across.
Another dangerous ball from Marcelo too. I don't think they'll give a penalty for this. I mean, there is a bit of holding. Maybe Casemiro will point to that and say, oh, I would have made that ball if I wasn't being pinned back.
It appears there's not going to be a review of that incident though. But, well, the referee is now just asking Dimitrovic to pause before taking the goal kick, so they are looking at it. How much contact was there from Rafa Suarez? Not enough. Now the review is completed, so no penalty. But Eibar, Rick, will definitely want to review how they are defending Marcelo. 10 minutes in, and already we've seen 2 very dangerous crosses from the Brazilian, who is so good coming forward. Still, there's never been any doubt about his ability as an attacking full-back. Generally, it's been his defending that's been the issue, but playing in this formation, ideal for him, and he's causing Eibar problems.
Yeah, it's almost like the magic man for Madrid.
Forward. Still, there's never been any active decision in there as well, eventually.
But on Marcelo, I agree, Andy, completely. At left back, he's a disaster for Madrid these days. You can't play him there anymore. But in that left midfield role, he's come alive again, and he looks really, really good every time he's played in that position for Zidane in the last couple of months.
And just to back up your comments about him playing as a full-back, the last 5 games he started in La Liga for Real Madrid, 1 win, 1 draw and 3 defeats. So results don't go well generally with Marcelo in the starting lineup these days, but it's much more to his liking and to his suiting this position as Modric looks to find him again. Beautiful control. Inside to Isco, trying to get away from Alvarez. Cross is deflected behind for a corner. And at the moment, Rick, 12 minutes played. It looks just a matter of time until Real Madrid open the scoring.
I think so, Andy. It won't be surprised if it's Marcelo providing the assist and Benzema getting the goal.
It's played short for Modric, drills it in low, didn't really connect cleanly. And cleared away. Mendy will get there comfortably ahead of Hill.
Mendy's done okay as a centre-back. It's not his natural position, but he's been used there a bit by Zidane. Doesn't look entirely comfortable, but generally done pretty well from that position. And you have to wonder if in the big games ahead, Zidane will stick with him as a centre-back and keep playing Marcelo now, because he's playing very well today.
Yeah, it's a conundrum facing Zidane, who has moved to this back 3 in recent weeks. Seems to be something he likes a lot. Casemiro with a powerful header to win the ball back away from Kike. Here's Marcelo again getting into space. Nice pass on to Isco. Benzema has pulled away to the left. Asensio is going through the middle, so to Isco. Benzema back for Marcelo. Another good cross just beyond Asensio this time, and the flag has gone up for offside again. Eibar's liking for a high defensive line is leaving them exposed at times, as it generally does. It's a brave way of playing. There's an interested onlooker, Sergio Ramos. How long will he be out? Will we see him again this season even? You'd expect so, with nearly a couple of months to go.
Yeah, I've seen people estimate between 2 weeks and a month for his calf injury, so I expect he will be back for the run-in, and I guess his hope is that Madrid can keep in the title race and keep in the Champions League for when he gets back.
Certainly for the title race, they'll have to avoid defeat next week at home against Barcelona. 3rd place at the moment, Real Madrid 6 points behind Atletico, 2 points behind Barca. So with 10 games to go, they've got a lot to do. As we see here, the formation of Eibar, the 4-3-3 shape. Lucas Vázquez. Look at all that space for Marcelo to control inside, looking for Modric. Poor pass this time. Cut out by Alex Garcia, and now there's space for Kike down the left, taking on Nacho. Holds it up for Gil, now moves into the middle. Nacho, Lucas Vázquez, I think it was, actually getting the tackle in, sending it behind for a corner, but a reminder for Real Madrid not to get complacent there, because Kike found space down the left rather too easily.
Yeah, and he's got a brilliant goal from nothing against Real Madrid in the first game between these teams, from distance. He's always going to be the threat for Eibar, along with Gil, those two combining there.
Yeah, that goal that you mentioned, the long-range strike, really out of keeping. Kike is brilliant in the air. That's his main route of scoring goals. And there's the header, this time from Paulo Oliveira, central defender at the far post. A little disappointed with himself, thinks he could have made more of that, as he peeled away into a bit of space, but well off the mark.
It's a bit difficult to head that back towards goal when you're running away from goal. Luka Modric. Classy step over to get away from Alex Garcia. The ball reaches Isco. And now Lucas Vázquez switching it out for Marcelo, who for once was being closed down quickly by Porto. Challenged him as the ball dropped. Out for the throw. Now Mendy.
Modric with a bit of space to pull the strings in midfield. Looks, as ever, to Marcelo, who must have had more touches than anyone else in these opening stages. This time they go to the right for Lucas Vázquez. Support from Asensio. Back for Modric. Swept over for Marcelo. Lovely layoff for Benzema. Probing around the edge of the area. And Casemiro trying the inside pass. That's cut out by Diop. And Nacho's ball forward out for the throw-in.
That's one of those spells that I mentioned earlier that Mendilibar was worried about, when Madrid just let their quality take over and just dominate the play, keep the ball, switch it about, try and break through the defence. It was a fantastic pass from Modric out to Marcelo on the left, and he cut it back to Benzema so quickly and carefully. That's how Madrid can slice you open.
Yeah, Eibar will not want to have to settle into a pattern of defending their penalty area for long periods. They're not built for that kind of play. They want to impose themselves as well, mainly by using Kike as the outlet to bring others in. And here's Lucas Vázquez looking for Isco, on for Asensio. This time Mendy comes forward with Marcelo staying back. Casemiro, header away by Anaid Sabia, can be kept in by Brian Hill. Nice ball inside to Alex Garcia. Sergio Alvarez. Pedro Leon just squeezes the pass away to Ale Porto. Looking for Hill at the far post. Not bad control, but he was under pressure from Lucas Vázquez. And that's maybe, Rick, the concern about Brian Hill. He's been highly touted this season, one of the wonder kids of Spanish football, made his international debut at the during the international break, but he's frail, he's small and doesn't have much strength, and the challenge there from Lucas Vázquez, an example of the kind of way that he can be forced off the ball a little too easily. He'll have to work on developing his upper body strength.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen there are players like Lionel Messi who are small, but they're certainly not weak. They're strong, and players just bounce off them. And Hill is in the same kind of frame as Messi in the way he runs with the ball and dribbles. And I think that he's going to have to take a leaf out of Messi's book and just bulk up a little bit and just get a bit stronger to bounce off the defenders when they challenge him like that. Because
here's Arbia taking on the shot from his own half, and it's an audacious but not bad attempt at all. And it goes wide in the end.
There's that challenge on Hill.
I mean, it wasn't easy for him to control it, was it?
No. But that's the challenge that he's got to face now. That's the next step for Hill, is to get a little bit stronger. He doesn't have to become, you know, a big and strong guy. I don't think that's ever going to happen anyway, but just to deal with those kind of tackles.
Lucas Vázquez with the cross, cleared as far as Modric. Casemiro for Mendy, and Marcelo. Back to Mendy. With Benzema dropping deep, there's no presence in the penalty area for Real Madrid, but they switch it over to the right for Lucas Vázquez, who's got away from Hill, but he battled back well, only though having committed a foul that is also going to earn him the first yellow card of the game. Referee Isidro Díaz de Mera, initially trying to allow advantage, but when there was none, this tug-back has been penalised and he can't really have any complaints.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because Vázquez was getting in behind him.
So a fifth yellow card of the season for Hill, which means he will be suspended from their next game, which is at home to Levante. So that's a blow for Eibar. For now, they have to focus on defending this free kick that Marco Asensio is looking to deliver. He'll swing it in towards the far post to get a glancing touch. Maybe even he'll shoot. He does shoot. It hits the bar. It comes out to Isco. Oh, another beautiful nutmeg from Isco. Now Casemiro with the shot that is blocked. And Eibar survive. What a try by Asensio. Foul by Casemiro. And that will stop the pressure. But brilliant attempt by Asensio. Certainly got that capability to score from that position.
A fantastic effort, and it's in an interesting position where the goalkeeper's not sure whether Asensio's going to shoot or cross it, so he can't set himself in one way or the other, and Asensio nearly found that top corner.
And there's no doubt he meant it. That wasn't a miss-hit cross.
No chance. Yeah, he's a really good long-range shooter, Marco Asensio.
So approaching the midway point of the opening period, Real Madrid very much on top, but haven't been able to find the breakthrough yet. They've had a goal from Karim Benzema disallowed for offside. A one-on-one for Benzema, saved by Marko Dimitrovic. That effort against the bar. And plenty of pressure, but no opening goal yet. And Eibar can only really be relieved about that because they haven't really been able to assert themselves in this game yet. Another nutmeg. There've been nutmegs galore in the last few minutes. Two from Isco. Another one from Modric there. He was fouled by Diop. Play restarts and Asensio runs towards goal. Inside for Marcelo, furthest player forward. Takes on the shot, comes out to Isco, who takes on the first time effort on target, but straight at Dimitrovic.
It's a good block in Isco. I don't think he quite struck it as he wanted to, and she saw there Casemiro nearly got his foot on it and could have diverted it home.
Would have caused perhaps more problems than the original shot. He maybe was in an offside position though. But the pressure continuing. Eibar have survived it so far, but I don't really think that they could. If the flow of the game continues like this, it's hard to see Eibar escaping with anything.
Madrid have come here with the intention of getting the 3 points, and there's no chance they're going to switch off. They look good to me today.
Yeah, there have been games this season when they've dropped points where from the opening whistle they've been sloppy and well below their best, not creating any goal threat, gaps at the back, but it's not been that way today. It's been a bright start from Los Blancos.
And it can be difficult when you bring in lots of players who don't normally play, like Marcelo, Isco, Militao, to lose your concentration.
Benzema and Marcelo trying to combine down the left. Very attacking role for the skipper Marcelo today.
I really hope that the last year or two of Marcelo's career at Madrid doesn't reflect really on how people think of him, because for much of the time he's been at the club, he's been phenomenal.
There's Pedro Leon getting down the right. It was an unusual ball that bounced almost rugby style, like it was playing for possession, but for position I should say, but Leon was able to keep it in and even win the corner. Eibar do have plenty of good aerial threats, particularly Kike. Oliveira and Darby, the two centre-backs, haven't yet scored this season. Pedro Leon with the corner, away by Eder Militao. Drops to Marcelo. Now Lucas Vázquez, Casemiro, Asensio classily playing their way out. Benzema onto the run of Isco. Excellent counter-attack. Will there be end product? Luka Modric. Back to Isco. Modric for Lucas Vázquez. Three in the middle, waiting for the cross. Laid back for Casemiro, and that's a poor ball from him. Meat and drink for Dimitrovic, who's very safe handling the ball on crosses like that.
Disappointing ending to the move. Casemiro's crossing has never been the greatest string to his bow, but it was a nice break from Madrid, and they worked the ball so well, dragged Eibar over to the left and then flipped it back to the right where Vázquez was free. It was a very nice bit of football.
But I'm sure Mendilibar, the Eibar coach we see on the sidelines there, pointing and shouting, he won't be at all happy with how easily Eibar let Real Madrid switch play from one end to the other.
I think Eibar's pressing has been not as good as normal today, and I think the reason for that is...
Here's Isco trying to prove exactly that point, getting into space, and sorry to interrupt there, Rick, but there's a threat from Isco, and really as you were saying it, proving the point that Real Madrid just almost walked their way forward there. There was not even the hint of a tackle, and Mendilibar, as you can see, is far from happy with the way his team are playing.
I think part of the reason that it's been harder for Eibar today is the way Madrid their players have not stuck to the roles that you might expect them to. Modric often comes back quite deep and collects the ball between the centre-backs, which makes it hard for the visitors to press him, and then Casemiro often is further up the pitch than you might expect. Marcelo is, like you said earlier, one of the furthest forward in attack. So it's harder for Eibar to cope with Madrid when they don't really know where the players are supposed to be.
Grumpy Mendilibar for sure on the bench, but yeah, perhaps there's some uncertainty among the Eibar players as to how they should press. Exactly as you say, because they wouldn't have expected to see this Real Madrid personnel or formation, and they haven't really got to grips with it yet. And they're fortunate, really, still to be on level terms. As a cross comes in, doesn't find Kike. Diop on the edge of the area for Gil. Now this could be a threat. One-on-one against Lucas Vázquez. Laid back for Rafa. Diop again. Struggled to control, and Casemiro sees as an invitation to step in. Forces it further back. But at least for Eibar, there's a bit of sustained possession now, something they have rarely had today. Anait Zarbia, central defender. Real Madrid taking a chance to rest a little collectively. Now here's a ball for Kike to run onto. Tries to buy the free kick and does so successfully. I think he was just waiting for the contact there from Nacho, and when he felt it, down he went.
Yeah, it's a soft free kick to give away. And like you say, Andy, that's very experienced play from Kike. Knew exactly what he was doing to win that.
Don't think he much appreciated the prolonged challenge from Nacho either. Pedro Leon will have another dead ball delivery, and Kike will be his main target.
Yeah, it's a shame for Eibar that a couple of their centre-backs who have scored this season aren't on the pitch today. Big Ass and...
Here's the cross coming in. Casemiro gets it away. The counter-attack doesn't this time pay off for Real Madrid. Casemiro makes another challenge. Yeah, they are missing a few players, Eibar.
Yeah, Big Ass and Esteban Burgos, they both got 3 goals each for Eibar this season.
Also missing the midfielder Edu Exposito, who's a regular starter, Yoshimuto, the Japanese striker, and Robert Correa, the fullback. Pedro Leon back to Ali Porto. Paulo Oliveira. Rather aimless ball forward, easily cut out by Nacho. And Mendy. Casemiro from Modric. Turns away brilliantly from 2 challenges. I think that was another nutmeg as well. A nutmeg pass that time to Isco, but Eibar win it back. And Mendy with the challenge on Pedro Leon.
But come on, that's another example of why it's so hard to press Real Madrid when Modric can just beat 3 men like that. It's remarkable play from Modric in midfield.
As though there was nobody there. Half an hour played. Still goalless. And it's been a little bit more comfortable for Eibar in the last few minutes. Up towards Kike, excellent leap from Eder Militao. Not easy to beat Kike in the air. He's one of the best aerial targets in La Liga. Perhaps up alongside Joselu of Alaves. And his ability to win those long balls forward and flick it on or link up with his teammates, but he's been well marshalled today. Here's a run for Ali Porto, gets away from Nacho, takes on the shot, and it flashes wide across the face of goal. Speculative effort from Ali Porto, and maybe he would have been better served trying to find a teammate rather than trying to beat Thibaut Courtois from there.
Maybe saw the headlines there. Porto, it was better from him though, because he's been probably the weakest link at the back for Eibar in this game.
Hasn't scored yet this season. Player who like Brian Hill, is on loan from Sevilla. And here's Lucas Vázquez. Arbia steps in, and Brian Hill wins it ahead of, I think it was Casemiro who challenged him and went down. But a misplaced pass from Rafa runs through to Courtois. Mendy. Eibar trying to press now. You see 4 players, now 5 of them, all around the Real Madrid penalty area. That is the trademark of how Eibar like to play. Stop their opponents from building up easily. Casemiro still mumbling away about that challenge that he got from Brian Hill a minute ago, which is a good job the referee didn't see it as a foul, because Hill has already been booked as well. Here's Asensio. Marcelo gets it back from Isco, sweeps it beautifully out to Lucas Vázquez. 4 in the middle. Cross though is met by Arbia. Eder Militao down to Marcelo, and now Asensio. Cross deflects in. Rafa Suarez didn't quite know how to deal with it. Volleys it away safely enough in the end though. Here's Pedro Leon. Sending it long, but Nacho in full control of the situation. Mendy on to Modric. Real Madrid have some absentees, in case you're not already aware. Sergio Ramos, of course, is missing. Eden Hazard continuing his recuperation from his latest injury as well. Dani Carvajal remains absent, and Fede Valverde. So those 4 out. But some good news for Real Madrid, Rick, is that Toni Kroos has come back more quickly than expected. You see again, this was a challenge from Brian Hill that wasn't whistled as a free kick on Casemiro. Hill already on a yellow card.
You can see why Casemiro is annoyed, because it would have hurt that, having his studs raked over his foot. And if the referee had seen it, it wouldn't be a surprise if Hill had been sent off.
Yeah, a bit of a let-off for the youngster. I'm just going back to Toni Kroos on the bench, Rick. Interesting to see him on there. I think we'd all more or less written him off from this game, but he's recovered more quickly than expected from the knock that saw him miss international duty with Germany. And the fact that he's on the bench today suggests he'll be fine for Liverpool in midweek.
You expect so, yeah, and he'll do anything to play in that game, Kroos. It was a thigh injury, which is hard for players sometimes to manage.
He's so important, Toni Kroos. He's setting the tempo in midfield as Marcelo with the long ball, looking for Casemiro, who again was playing almost as a centre forward there. It's beyond his run. Just lost their way a little, Real Madrid here, Rick.
I think they started at such a fast pace, it was hard for them to maintain that. Taking a little breather now, and they'll probably look to finish the half strongly as well.
Other options on the bench for Zinedine Zidane today include the 2 Brazilian wingers. As Eder Militao slips, able to get back on his feet to find Courtois. Uncertain moments at the back. Real Madrid do get it away in the end to Asensio, holds off the challenge. Back to Courtois again. As I was saying, the substitutes for Real Madrid, Rodrigo and Vinicius, both on the bench, as is Toni Kroos, Mariano, Alvaro Odriozola, and Rafa Varane rested today.
I think we might see Vinicius at some point. He always makes things happen, so if Madrid need a goal, they won't hesitate to chuck him in.
Lucas Vázquez down the right-hand side. Asensio and Benzema are in the middle. Marcelo joining as well now. Laid back to the edge for Isco, and there's a flick from Asensio. That is the opening goal. What clever play from Marco Asensio. Beautifully finished improvisation. And there comes the breakthrough. It will be reviewed because he was coming back from what looked possibly like an offside position. For now, though, it's 1-0 to Real Madrid.
Phenomenal finish from Asensio. If it counts, it will go down as one of the best finishers of the season. Took that so well.
It was a miss-hit, really, from Isco, wasn't it? Certainly no problem with the offside flag there as Lucas Vázquez gets away. He had the vision to pick out Isco. And let's see. I think he's offside.
Yeah, it looks like that might get ruled out. Such a nice finish from Asensio. Through the legs of Dimitrovic.
The shot from Isco was probably going wide, wasn't it?
Yeah, Isco didn't catch it well at all, like the other shot he had earlier. But Asensio so quick to react.
At the moment, he has his 4th goal of the season, but it will be being reviewed by Martinez Munuera, who confirms it is offside, and that quick first look we had at it, Rick, did make it appear that it was going to be a fairly straightforward review. Another offside goal ruled out for Real Madrid. There it is. He didn't get back quickly enough. Just.
Shame for Asensio, but another warning for Eibar, who have now had 2 goals against them ruled out for offside. Both correctly, I think. It hasn't been too controversial.
No need for the millimetric lines there. Just clear even to the naked eye, as with the first one on Benzema. Kike able to fashion the cross in, but harmlessly through to Courtois.
It's not what you want to see. Kike's the guy that should be in the middle getting the cross.
Isco quickly on to Marcelo. Looking for his options. Plays it simply back to Casemiro. 3 offsides against Real Madrid. 2 of them saw the ball in the back of the net. Lovely control from Isco, stepping inside now. Lovely back heel for Marcelo. Wins the corner. Been some bright moments from Isco.
Yeah, seeing him and Marcelo combining like that takes me back to the days where Madrid won the double, the Champions League and La Liga. And those 2 are both key in that season.
Absolutely. That was probably Isco's best spell for Real Madrid, 2017. Here's his corner. Headed in by Eder Militao, but couldn't get firm enough contact, and it drifts wide.
And actually, he did play a lot of that season up front with Cristiano Ronaldo after Gareth Bale was pushed out of the team by Zidane. And that's kind of where he's operated today, like you pointed out earlier, Andy.
Yeah, and that's the rule that the role that suits him best, isn't it? Where he can have a bit of freedom, try to get between the lines of midfield and defence, and link up with Benzema or the wingers coming forward. Often he's had to play wide, which doesn't suit him as much. Here's Brian Hill turning into space, but a poor pass, and look how frustrated he is with himself, because he knew there was an opportunity there for Eibar to create something, which they haven't done yet. Thibaut Courtois has not been tested in this game, and Brian Hill should have made more of that.
Yeah, I won't go as far as saying that was a chance, but it was certainly a chance to create a chance, which really, they haven't got into too many positions, Eibar, in this game to do that.
Certainly that was one of the best positions they've found so far. Mendy coming forward, swapping positions briefly with Marcelo. And that's one thing that you lose with this formation, with Mendy playing as a 3rd central defender. He can't come forward as much, and he is so good at that. Now here's Asensio. Can he finish? Yes, he can, and this time it will count. Beautifully swept home by Marco Asensio. Took the ball in his stride, and it's 3rd time lucky for Real Madrid. 2 goals disallowed for offside. This one won't be. 5 minutes before the break, now they are ahead, and Asensio has the goal that Real Madrid deserve.
They absolutely deserve it, Andy. It's a great finish by Asensio, and a really nice burst of pace here just to steal the ball. Casemiro won it back and just fed it through, and he just whipped past the defender with that initial burst and tucked it in the corner. Perfect finish.
The first touch, so important, just set himself up. Meant that he didn't have to take another touch. The ball was just there to be struck. Slipped slightly as he hit it, but that didn't stop him from finding the back of the net but hugely frustrating for Eibar because it came after Diop gave it away on the halfway line. His pass was easily cut out by Casemiro, and Eibar will feel that they contributed to their own demise there.
Yeah, it was poor from Diop, and that's the thing with Casemiro. We've seen in the last few years how he's become an important attacking player for Madrid, and that through ball, he wouldn't have been able to make a through ball like that 4 or 5 seasons ago, but now it's just part of his game.
There's the confirmation of the offside for the previous goal. As Isco hit it, Asensio was off, but no question of anything being wrong with the one that finally did count. As Asensio gets his 4th goal of the season. Eibar trying to press high up the field, but it's worked away, and Benzema beautifully controls and links up with Vavkev. Worrying for Eibar, Brian Hill, they're on the halfway line, limping pretty heavily.
I think they'll just want to get him in to half-time and then have a look at him and make sure he can come out for the second half.
Certainly a goal down, they won't want to lose their main creative threat. Well, it's been a disappointing first half from Eibar. They've been suspect defensively, lucky to survive as long as they did without conceding, and they've offered very little going forward, and easy to see, although of course away at Real Madrid is not an easy game, but easy to see from this performance why they are down where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even Hill, who's probably their best, most creative player, like you say, is struggling.
Took a firm challenge there from Lucas Vavkev, who got the ball first, sent it out for the throw-in. Not sure he made any contact with Brian Hill there. It was a very robust tackle, you could say.
Yeah, maybe Hill was just feeling that earlier knock he appeared to have. He just didn't appreciate the fact that he was going to have to dodge out of the way of that tackle.
Alex Garcia, a recent signing for Eibar, the former Girona player. There's Takeyanui warming up, the Japanese international who's had a really disappointing season, hence he's not in the starting lineup today, but he would be an obvious option for Mendilibar from the bench if they want to change things. Courtois put under pressure, and he doesn't like that. That isn't an area of weakness for Courtois. When he's pressed on the ball, he doesn't have the composure or the quality on the ball of the likes of Ter Stegen to play his way out.
He is improving, I think, Courtois at that, but it's not what it's not what he wants really. He's going to have to learn how to deal with it, because that's football these days.
Suarez with the cross down to Kike. Now Diop hits it well, but straight at Courtois. The first time he's been forced into a really meaningful save, Courtois, just before half-time, and Diop hit that with a lot of power, and had it not been straight at Courtois, could have caused him problems.
Like Asensio, Diop just slipped as he hit it, and maybe he would have been able to direct it a bit better if he hadn't.
The last few seconds of normal time at the end of the first half. We'll probably have at least a minute added on for the VAR reviews that saw Real Madrid's goals disallowed for offside. But so far, so good from the reigning champions. This is a game that they would look at, and certainly their fans would look at, as one that should be a routine home win. This isn't the game that will decide whether they will win the title, but it's the kind of game where they could lose the title.
I'm sure
they didn't come out
very
focused.
similar to that, to his players before they came out for this one. And like I said at the start, I think Madrid are going to see this last period of the season, this last 10 games, as they saw it last season after the restart, focus on these games, win every one, and they'll have a chance of winning the title.
Well, they've done their job so far, and they're not finished yet for this first half. Vavkev sends in the cross, isn't going to reach Benzema, as Arbia gets it away as far as Casemiro. Switched over for Marcelo, one of the best players of the first half. He's going to take on Porto. One last chance to get a cross in. And that deflects behind for a corner, which there may not be time to take. We've reached the 1 minute of added time. The referee is going to allow Isco to take it. It'll have to be quickly. I wouldn't advise a short corner from Isco. Well, that was a bit of a waste from Isco. Time's up, and it was just time to take it, but when they took it short, no time for anything else. But they do have the lead. This excellent goal from Marco Asensio, and the lead that Real Madrid very much deserve.
Yeah, they're good value for it. Could be 1 goal, could be 2 goals, could be 3 goals. You expect they'll add to their lead in the second half unless Eibar really change things around, because they've been poor today.
So Marko Dimitrovic has had to retrieve the ball from his net on 3 occasions. The first 2, the offside decision saved his team, but it was that strike from Asensio that did count and leads to this scoreline at the break. Real Madrid 1, Eibar 0.
Yes, just the 1 goal, as Andy mentioned. The predictions were a little different to the current scoreline. Peter Reid said 3-0. Kevin Campbell said 2-0 in this game. Obviously, Kevin not as confident at the moment as we've seen him in recent weeks and months. I'm not sure why. How are you feeling now, Kevin, at this particular point in the game? Confident or otherwise?
I'm very confident, Joe. I'm very confident. Look, they're just going to do enough today. They came out the traps really fast, and they're playing that free at the back. And with Luka Modric and Casemiro in that midfield, they really, really played well, I thought. And just for a few inches here and there, you know, this game could have been wrapped up already. But they have got the lead for a well-taken Asensio goal. But I expect there to be more goals, Joe.
I know this is a football show, Kevin Campbell, but I'd want to do a quick-fire quiz for you. Do they win this game, yes or no?
Yes.
Do they knock Liverpool out of the UEFA Champions League, yes or no?
Yes.
Do Real Madrid win the El Clasico, yes or no?
Yes.
Do Real Madrid win the league, yes or no?
I want them to, Joe, but I think it's too much to make up at the moment. So no.
It's a yes or no question, Kevin Campbell.
I just said no.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. Right, we may now continue our assessment of that first half. Asensio's goal, Peter, it was coming, wasn't it?
Yeah, so watching the game, Real Madrid were in charge. The disappointing thing from Eibar's point of view, they got possession, I think, but Casemiro reads it great ball, and Asensio sticks it away superbly. I'm not sure about the defending, but what a great finish. And it's only what Real Madrid deserved.
And the other goals, or the disallowed goals, to be more specific, Peter, were there any doubts for you?
No. VAR. What I would say, I thought Marcelo's cross for the Benzema header was absolutely magnificent. But you've got to stay on sides, especially with the VAR now. You don't get away with anything. But look at it, the quality of this. I mean, not even looking. Yeah, he's just gone early, but what a great cross.
Peter, do you think Marcelo, and we don't see him very often these days, do you think Marcelo is a better wing-back or even a better winger than he is a full-back?
I think he's better going forward, yes. I mean, hey, listen, he's been a great player, and as we know, he's been a tremendous left-back. His defensive side nowadays, I think, is something to be desired. But when you talk about getting forward in that wing-back position, I tell you what, he does it as well as anybody.
One thing I did like, Kevin, about those offside decisions, apart from the fact that they were offside, one of the things I did like was the speed with which the decisions were made. There was not this long, drawn-out process of humming and hawing and dilly-dallying that we normally see from referees.
No, Joe, they moved quickly and got it right because they were just offside. Fair play to the officials and the VAR people on the monitors, etc. But you know what, Joe? I've got to say Benzema, when he got that back pass, if he passed it to Asensio, that's a guaranteed goal. Those are maybe some of these little things against Liverpool could prove to be a game changer. Because if somebody gives you a back pass there, you've got to make sure you score. So that's one little criticism of Benzema today. But apart from that, they did get the offside decisions right.
So for you, yes, no doubt, they were offside.
Yeah.
I just want to put it to the people, and honesty is going to be questioned here. 70% of you say yes, they were offside. 30% of you say no. Ooh. Dishonesty. There's dishonesty in amongst all of that, I have to say. Just going back to those goals, the offside decisions in particular, do you think that maybe it was just a little bit of that post-international break hangover from the players, having not trained together and played together a lot, plus this team that's been put out today, Kevin?
You can say that, Joe, but listen, attacking crosses, playing at the top end of the pitch, you know you have to get onside. If you stray or if you're lazy, you know you're offside. And Benzema, like any good striker does, he knows where he's going. He goes early. He's just expecting the cross to come and maybe a fraction earlier so he can make up the ground and head it in. He was offside there. And Asensio just coming back was a little slow coming back. But if Eibar defend the same in the second half, they're going to get punished a lot more.
Okay. We saw Casemiro go down in the penalty area, Peter. Was it a penalty? It wasn't given.
I think there was a coming together, but not a penalty for me. I just think he's made a great run forward, but there is contact, but nah, not a penalty for me.
Now, from this angle, it's not really that clear, is it, Kevin? But when you see it from this angle, it's very different.
Joe, I keep hearing this Peter Reid talk about coming together. He's holding him. What are you talking about? Coming together. He's holding him. He's got away with that one, Joe. But we have seen them given, haven't we? People holding in the box. He turns him as well. You know, I've seen them given. For me, that's a penalty, Joe. But, look, he's grabbed him. That ain't a coming together. What is Peter Reid talking about, Joe? Please, how is that a coming together?
I don't know sometimes, Kevin. I really don't. Come on then, Peter. Justify how you see that as not a penalty. You said coming together. What do you mean by that?
Because they've come together, there's contact there, but he hasn't pulled them down. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's VAR there as well. If they thought it was a penalty, I'm sure they'd have gone upstairs. But no, he's just dived, as usual, the white shirt. Just like the one he got in El Clasico when Ramos threw himself to the ground. But fortunately, we've got a good referee today.
Addy says, I hope the sun shines on Real Madrid all week. This is in reference, if you missed us before kickoff, this is in reference to the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final against Liverpool. And it's also in reference to the Clasico, which comes the following weekend. Yes, the Clasico is on its way. It's not in reference, as Adi also points out, to the sun that's shining on Kevin's head. Yes, you're absolutely right. It is clearly a sunny day in Manchester, is it not, Kevin Campbell?
Lovely. It's lovely, Joe. It's beautiful here.
Look at that. Hey, look at that. Ayush says Joe is looking so friendly after the international break. No, I'm not. There is no... no. The face, don't be mistaken. Don't be mistaken for what you're seeing here. I just want to come to back to Brian Gill that we talked about before kickoff, Kevin. He's a huge talent. He's been linked with Real Madrid. Has he shown that talent in this first half? And if so, what mark would you give him out of 10?
Joe, I think he is, obviously he's an immense talent. He's one of these players who's fearless. He's a young lad who's fearless, goes for it, gets a little bit unlucky at times. Defensive duties have caught him out a little bit at times as well. But he's willing to work, Joe. And I would give him, I'd give him a 7, Joe, because I think he's been one of the better players for Eibar, especially going forward. So I'd give him a 7.
What about the fouls that he committed, Peter? Should he, as we heard in commentary from Andy and Rick, should he have got a red?
I think the referees erring on the side of caution and a bit of common sense. I mean, obviously that's a booking, and then you've got to be really careful. I don't think the second one was really common sense prevailed, thank heavens. And that's just another coming together, and somebody in the white shirt going to ground too easily. So no, I think he's flattered to deceive today, because I like him as a technical player, but I haven't seen that quality today. I've seen not enough of it anyhow.
What mark would you give him, Peter?
Oh, I think he's been distinctly average. 5.
5. And if you were his manager at half-time, if you were Jose Mendilibar, what would you do with regards to the second half? Because it seems like he's eager to impress, but like you pointed out, he's running that fine line, isn't he, of discipline. So what would you do with him? Would you take him off even? Okay, let me get a couple more questions in here. Sat says, Isco's starting today. Well, this is because there seems to be a bit of rotation, doesn't there, Kevin, ahead of that Champions League game, ahead of that Clasico game. So it is rare, I know, but you can understand why.
Yeah, could understand why. And I think Isco's done okay today, Joe. What I do like is where Modric starts playing a little bit deeper and he starts playing the ball forward in between, and Isco gets on the ball playing in the hole. I think that's been a feature of how Real Madrid have set up today. They seem to be, you know, better attacking, looking a lot more fluent in this system than they did the last time. So I think Isco's done okay.
Let me bring Shash in here. Peter, Mendy going to have more freedom. How is that lineup at the back? Because remember, Varane has been rested today. He's been left on the bench. So that trio at the back for you, have you seen much in it? Do they look like they could hold the fort long term?
I think on today's performance, they've done well. I mean, to be fair to Mendy, he's pushed on that left-hand side and let Marcelo go further up the pitch. But I'm not as confident as Kevin have if they come up against a side like Liverpool in the Champions League, whether that will be strong enough defensively to handle a top-class side. But on today's performance, they've done okay, without a doubt.
Well, I may as well ask you before we head back for the second half, my little quiz, Peter Reid. Do they knock out Liverpool?
No. And I hate to be
Do
saying
they win the Clásico?
No.
Do they win the league?
No.
Do they win today's game?
Yes.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's head back to the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano and rejoin your commentary team of Andy West and Rick Sharma.
Live a season without a script, improvised by protagonists who rehearse non-stop. It's not fiction, it's not a thriller, it's something much bigger. And after 90 seasons, the excitement is still intact in La Liga Santander and La Liga Smart Bank. It's not football, it's La Liga.
So Real Madrid are halfway there to picking up the 3 points. Today, the goal from Marco Asensio giving them the lead here. Well deserved. And they've got 45 minutes now to see this one out. Eibar, can they play better in the second half? Very disappointing opening period from them. They do have plenty of options to change things from the bench. And probably Rick Sharma alongside me, they will feel that they can't really play worse than they did in the first half.
Absolutely, Andy. The only way for them to do that would be to actually let in more goals than just the one they got away with in the first half. I think Real Madrid, on the other hand, they at times have dropped off in second halves, lost their concentration a bit. So again, that will be the issue for Zidane here, just to make sure they keep playing at the level they did in the first half and hold off any last-ditch Eibar attempts to get a goal.
So Real Madrid with the early possession at the back, and they're in no hurry to bring the ball forward initially. There has been a change at the break for Eibar, with Take Inui coming on in the left wing position in place of Bryan Gil, and we don't know whether that is as a result of injury. He was limping towards the end of the first half, or maybe disciplinary concern, as the guys talked about during the half-time break. He was on a yellow card, but he isn't out there now. There's Inui in the number 14 shirt replacing him.
It could be a bit of one from column A, one from column B, really. It wasn't a great half by Gil, and he'll be disappointed with it. Like you said in the first half, Andy, Inui hasn't had a great season, but he does have a lot of quality. We've seen him in the past have big performances against Madrid and Barcelona, so he'll be looking to put things right today.
Inui has started most games this season, 20 starts for him, but only 1 goal and no assists, which is very disappointing from an attacking player. Generally plays on the right-hand side with Gil on the left, but he's over on the left now. That being the only change that has been made so far. They do have a few forwards on the bench as well, with Quique González, also Sergi Enrique, and a youngster as well. And wish me luck here, because this young player who on the bench for Eibar today has 19 letters in his second name. I'll say it in a minute, but here's Real Madrid. Lucas Vázquez with 3 in the middle, and he takes on the shot himself, and Dimitrovic almost spilled that, but he was able to gather it at the second attempt. The first goal threat from Los Blancos in the second half. Lucas Vázquez, don't see him taking on many shots with his left foot, Rick.
No, certainly not. And actually in this game, he's been quite restrained, perhaps because Marcelo has been piling forward on the other flank. Normally it's Vázquez who is the fullback who gets the chance to go forward more, because he's naturally a winger.
There's a foul here conceded by Casemiro on Ale Porto, who's gone down holding his mouth. And look at the sweet innocence on the face of Casemiro.
To be fair to him, I mean, he's often involved in challenges where he does deliberately leave a body part in, but in that case I think it was an accident. I don't think he knew too much about it, Casemiro.
Got a considerable size advantage on Ale Porto, both in terms of height and muscularity, and the young fullback felt the force of it there. Right, I promised I'd say this name. I'm going to get it out of the way now. Unai Arrieta Leanez Beascoa is the young substitute that Eibar have. Fortunately, he's normally known by his first name, Unai, so I'm happy to stick with that, Rick, if you are.
Sounds good to me, Andy. You deserve a round of applause. That was perfect.
Free kick swung in, but easily gathered by Courtois. No changes yet from Real Madrid, as mentioned in the first half. Rodrigo and Vinicius, and Toni Kroos among the subs available to Zidane.
It's a big game this for Asensio because he's scored in his last two, both off the bench. So that's 3 and 3 for him, and he's earned this start, and he's trying to keep his place in the team ahead of Vinicius. If Zidane keeps this 2 up front, there's only 1 spot available for either Vinicius or Asensio. Certainly staked his claim for it today.
Yeah, and Rodrigo as well, although he would be more likely to play down the right-hand side. But there isn't an obvious partner, is there? There's no one who has had such a good season that if you're going to play a 5-3-2, you would say, well, it has to be Benzema and player X. It's open.
For sure. I mean, it's a system that Eden Hazard would work well in if he was fit, if he was in form, which he is neither of those things at the moment, although he has been training this week, so he might reappear in the next few games.
For how long will be the question. It's harsh, but it's easy to be cynical about Hazard, the terrible time he's had so far. Let's all just hope that better times around the corner for him.
Absolutely, he was one of my favourite players to watch when he was at Chelsea in England, and just such a shame he's not been able to hit the ground running at any point in La Liga.
Casemiro goes over, wins the free kick. The challenge from Pape Diop was firm enough to force the whistle. And here's Asensio dropping into a bit of space. Alvarez falling over in his attempt to pursue Asensio, but then a bit sloppy with the pass, nearly cut out by Alex Garcia, but they have it back. And it's with Isco. Modric. Benzema, clever dummy. Modric picks it up. Isco for Nacho. Now worked over to Marcelo. Mendy is forward. The cross is a brilliant one for Isco, who can't quite bring it down. Maybe caught in 2 minds whether to steer it goalwards first time or try and control it, and he didn't do either, but that's a brilliant pass from Marcelo.
Absolutely phenomenal cross from Marcelo. A real waste from Isco. I think you're right, Andy. He had that decision to make, and he didn't really make it.
A bit tentative, wasn't it, the way he tried to control it?
I think he's low on confidence. He hasn't scored all season for Madrid.
Nicely done again by Marcelo, and Benzema to find Asensio, who goes for the long-range left-footed strike. Really well saved by Marko Dimitrovic, but Marco Asensio looking to underline a sensation that he is finding his top form. Really good effort.
Been too long since we've seen Asensio playing with this kind of vim.
He's forced the corner that Isco will take. Headed away by Oliveira. Asensio can pick it up. Lucas Vázquez finds Casemiro down the right, cut back for Modric, looks for the 1-2 and then gets a shot away. Decent block, but again that Eibar defence is being stretched, and Real Madrid finding their way into shooting positions without too much difficulty at the moment.
They've picked up where they left off in the first half, Madrid.
As have, regrettably from their point of view, Eibar. Still not much sign of resistance from them. They're not looking in this game like a team that are fighting for their lives, and they've got a really tough run in as well. The games ahead of them will not be easy for them to improve their position. A couple of weeks time they travel to Atletico Madrid. They also have to play Real Sociedad soon, and their last game of the season is against Barcelona, who of course will be hoping to be fighting for the title. It's looking pretty bleak for Eibar at the moment. They needed this save from Dimitrovic to keep them in contention here.
He's one of the few players that's pulling his weight for Eibar, Dimitrovic. And we were saying before the show, Andy, we were saying, oh, you said to me that you thought Eibar were going down probably, and I said, oh no, I think they're going to be good enough to stay up. But actually on this showing, I won't be surprised at all if they go down. It's been really poor from them today.
Yeah, more confident in my assertion since I made it to you in that chat from the way they've played today. But there is time. At the moment, that looks like it's going to be time for Real Madrid to extend their lead. Here they come again. Asensio across the face of goal, too heavy with the cross, beyond everyone. With the rain starting to fall now at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano. April showers, but not dampening the confidence with which Real Madrid are playing.
It's been quite a while since they've played with as much attacking verve as this. Maybe that's down to Marcelo featuring in this game, because that's exactly what he's about.
Here is Marcelo finding Isco, nice pass. Asensio, clever flick to Benzema, come back to Asensio, doesn't quite reach Lucas Vázquez. But Asensio will try again now. Modric. Vázquez, 4 in the middle. Cross towards Benzema, who will feel he could have made more of that. Maybe just unsighted by the defender Oliveira backing towards him at the last split second. But he didn't make a clean connection on what was a really decent chance for a player of Benzema's quality in the air.
He's not bad, is he, in the air? And that's just a poor effort. Maybe he's getting all these shots out of the way before the big games come this week.
Eibar under continuous pressure at the moment. Play down at the other end now, and they try to exert a high press, but Modric so classily moves away from that. Headed on by Benzema. Oliveira should deal with this one.
Modric is just one of the best anti-press players in the whole world. It's so hard to rob him of the ball.
Yeah, and you were, when we were talking during half-time, you were giving us a theory that maybe that's the way forward for football.
I think so, because we saw, you know, in the time before the press, people played quite standard football, and then pressing came in, and the teams that pressed best ended up with the best results. And now, what will be the next phase? And I think it will be teams working to counteract the press of the opposition. And the way Madrid have set up here today, and the players they've got, make them quite good at that, because they can all float about, playing different roles and just trying to avoid Eibar's press, and it's worked really well here.
Here's Porto avoiding Marcelo and working his way down the right for Pedro Leon. Not a bad cross. First time we've really seen him put the ball inside the area from open play, but dealt with. And Casemiro bringing it forward for Isco, who's dispossessed, but it falls to Asensio, and got the confidence of Marcelo to sweep that first time. Misplaced in front of Lucas Vázquez, but still a nice try. But it's opened up for Eibar here. Now with Inui, first time he's really featured. Finds Rafa Suarez, but Modric, he's not just good on the ball, he works so hard. And he blocked the cross that's led to this counter now for Vázquez. Running to the edge of the area. Asensio leaves it for Benzema. Game's got really stretched at the moment.
Lucas Vázquez overran the ball there in that chance, though. He could have released it earlier to either Asensio or Benzema. Madrid would have had another opportunity.
Happy just to slow the game down now and get the structure back as Marcelo, Benzema, Casemiro tries to square it back in the area. Some lovely one-touch passing. There's a real crispness and confidence about Real Madrid's play today.
Just in time for the big Champions League games, the Clásico, the run-in. I think we might see this Madrid until now and the end, between now and the end of the season. That'll be good news for them.
Asensio cuts it back to the edge of the area. Isco strikes, blocked by Alvarez. Now the very hopeful long-range shot taken on by Lucas Vázquez and well wide. When you say we might see this Real Madrid between now and the end of the season, do you mean in terms of formation, personnel, or the way they're playing?
Not the personnel, because I think as soon as Ramos is fit again, he'll be back in the team. Obviously, Rafa Varane will be back in the team. for the big matches. But in terms of the formation, I think Zidane's been working towards this over the last few weeks. And in terms of the way they're creating chances and moving and basically playing far better football than they have through most of this season, that's what I'm talking about.
Kike chest down well. Garcia can't find him though. And Casemiro and Isco bring it away with Modric now out to Marcelo. We saw Rodrigo is getting ready to come on. As Isco holds off a challenge. Gives it away though. Straight to Rafa. Inui motors ahead of him. Pedro Leon, a bit of space down the right. Does give it to Inui in the end. He whips the cross in. Takes a deflection, and that was awkward in the end for Mendy, who had to steer it behind for a corner. And as much as Eibar have been outclassed in this opening hour, Rick, they are somehow still only a goal behind. So football can change very quickly, and they will hope that happens here as the rain really throws itself down now. Toni Kroos is coming on as well, which is great news for Real Madrid, because a couple of days ago we were thinking he was going to miss the Liverpool tie and the Clásico. Corner played into the near post by Pedro Leon, but Oliveira can't make anything of it.
Well, Madrid will hope that he gives them a bit more cruise control in this half, because with the rain, maybe Eibar starting to feel more at home. Very much fitting for where they come from, the Basque Country. I'd like to say, Andy, one goal always leaves the door open for an equaliser.
I can't believe you used that. Cruise control. Come on. But he is on, and he's replacing Luka Modric. One great for another. And Marco Asensio, been a great game for him as well.
Great game for him, and the only reason I can imagine he's coming off now, given how well he's played, is because Zidane wants to start him on Tuesday against Liverpool.
And there's going to be another change for Eibar as well, which is going to be a change in formation as well. Alex Garcia has been playing as an attacking midfielder in the 4-5-1 or 4-3-3, but now he's replaced, and on comes Sergi Enrique, who is an out-and-out number 9 target man. So that will be a 4-4-2 from Eibar. They are going to try to go for it in the last half hour. They don't really have much choice.
No, in fact, the way they've set up, it almost looks like a 4-2-4. Just to throw everything forward and try and get the goal.
Yeah, Pedro Leon and Inui will be attacking down the wings. Obviously, the downside of that for Eibar is that they'll leave more space in midfield, in particular for Toni Kroos, who's just come on to try to exploit. As Courtois just about avoids a freakish own goal with a back pass that initially didn't look like it was any trouble at all, but he got himself out of position, and that's the closest Eibar have come to scoring all day, and they didn't even come close to touching the ball.
It would have been an absolutely comical goal to concede, and I just wonder if the rain and the wind, we can see the wind because of how the rain's driving towards that way, towards Courtois' goal, maybe affected it there and took the ball past him.
Well, it is a corner for Eibar after that very near miss. Pedro Leon plays it in, bounces down. Diop trying to make something of it. Nacho clears. We could see even, a good point there, Rick, with the wind, could see how it was even affecting the delivery of the corner from Pedro Leon. This weather very much taking a turn for the worse and could well have an influence on proceedings in the next half hour, but that was all on Courtois, wasn't it? There was nothing really wrong with the back pass. He just misjudged it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely it is Courtois' fault. He'll claim the rain made the pitch wet and the ball slippy and it let it speed past him. He recovered well, to be fair to him.
Made a sliding tackle on the goal line. But here's the long-range shot taken on, rather hopefully, from Pedro Leon. But they've got the wind behind them, literally, Eibar. So they'll try to use that to their advantage. There's their tough manager in this weather. He doesn't need any cover from it. He's just going to keep wearing his T-shirt. A test for the drainage of the Alfredo Di Stefano turf as well. Isco down, holding his face, and Marcelo asks the Eibar players to back away so that that can get checked. Took a bit of a shove from Diop. Oh, and that was what hurt him, wasn't it? The flailing knee, completely inadvertent from Diop, but he caught Isco on the back of the head.
Nasty shot for Isco. He's going to have a big bruise in the morning.
You can hear the thunder in the background as well. It was April showers, now it's a real spring storm.
A dramatic weather for a dramatic week of football ahead for Real Madrid.
Absolutely. And there's more drama to come in this weekend in La Liga Santander as well, especially tomorrow night. Just look at the way that kick from Courtois held up in the wind, by the way. Didn't even reach the halfway line. It was going backwards by the end. Tomorrow night's game, the big one this weekend. Courtois again has to be careful. Mendy on now to Marcelo, who feels he was fouled. Play goes on though. Pedro Leon to Diop. Opens up for Alvarez. Eibar are looking in the game now for... Finally, they haven't really been all day, but this last 5 minutes with the change in weather, it's changed towards them.
Well, I feel like the coach brought the weather on as well as the two substitutes. It all happened at once.
They use the elements to their advantage. It's knocked Real Madrid out of their stride a little. And it's kept in here. Well, it was initially, but then Inui runs it out for the goal kick. I was just mentioning, Rick, tomorrow night, big game. Atletico, the leaders, at Sevilla, a really tough trip for them. And Barca and Real Madrid watching on in hot pursuit of Atletico. They'll be very much looking at that game and hoping that Atletico drop points.
There's a big chance of it too, because Sevilla are a good side, and it's one of the few fixtures Atletico have left, which is a conceivable one for them to drop points in.
If Real Madrid hold on to the points in the next 25 minutes or so here, they will be just 3 points behind Atletico. They'll be one above Barca. Is Kike. That's going to be a corner. I don't think Lucas Vázquez is going to keep that in. So Eibar's threat continuing to grow. Double change being prepared by Zinedine Zidane. Sergio Arribas will be coming on, the young winger, and Vinicius.
Couple of good dribblers, couple of fast players to try and hit Eibar on the counter, because they have thrown more men forward.
Here's the corner coming in, headed away by Nacho for another corner. And the danger with these in-swingers now is from that side with the right foot, it's going to be taken towards goal as well. And Nacho had to watch that carefully. The opposite case now, where Leon is battling against the wind with his out-swinging delivery. And it's cleared easily by Benzema. Potho retrieves, and Oliveira under pressure didn't want to take a chance, so he goes back to Mitrovic. Long from him, Mendy heads away, but Eibar are in it all of a sudden.
It's been their best spell by a country mile in this game. And like I said earlier, Madrid sometimes in the second half do lose their way a little bit.
Isco will play no further part. At the midway point of the second half, he is replaced with Sergio Arribas coming on. And the other change is Marcelo for Vinicius, so one Brazilian for another.
Marcelo will leave with his stock having been raised by this performance. Really good game from him.
First half in particular, he was outstanding. See the way the rain is gathering. Good job it wasn't like this at the start, because puddles will be forming on the field, and might have been in some doubt if we'd had this heavy rain all the way through.
They're going to have to work hard to get this pitch in good shape by Tuesday as well.
Yeah, good point. Liverpool, the visitors, of course, in midweek. Here's Arribas. Sent forward long, too long, and Courtois this time can comfortably gather it in. So it looks as though Arribas has gone into the left wing-back role that Marcelo was in. Vinicius is slightly ahead of him in the position that Isco previously occupied, and Rodrigo on the right where Asensio was. That's been the result of the changes.
Sometimes it doesn't help Madrid when they make these changes and change the system a little bit, that it's harder to then use the mechanisms that they've been working on in training and also through the first half of the game. Especially given the importance Marcelo's had in the match. Now they no longer have that outlet to look to.
But they've become unsettled, haven't they? And it definitely has coincided with the weather. And it's it'd be interesting to get the views later of the guys, Peter and Kevin, obviously former players, see how they think it might be affecting these Real Madrid players, but they've lost all their fluency since the storm was unleashed. Now trying to regain some of that with Cruz finding Vinicius onto Arribas. Back to Cruz. Casemiro lays it off for Arribas. Across the face of goal, Lucas Vázquez. Can he finish? Good block by Arbia. Comes back for Casemiro. Flag goes up. Offside has been the decision, so it's not going to stand. Obviously Casemiro wasn't offside, but it must have been there much earlier in the move against Arribas.
Yeah, another one which does look pretty conclusive at first sight. It's a nice finish from Casemiro, and Vázquez finds him on the edge of the box, just steers it into that bottom corner.
My initial thought was that maybe a player in an offside position had obstructed the view of the goalkeeper, but no, we had to go back further than that for the run by Arribas, the youngster who has come off the bench for his 6th appearance of the season. They're checking it, but that check didn't take too long, and now it's confirmed. So a hat-trick of disallowed goals for offside for Real Madrid today.
And all of them fairly clear, which is probably a good thing. I think there's enough talk about VAR and all the controversies over marginal offside, so at least there's not too much debate.
Yeah, the best use of VAR is when it makes a clear decision that you can't debate, and that has been the case. Well, the first two were VAR decisions. That one was the linesman's decision, confirmed by VAR. And that's where the use of technology can help us, where it's quick, gets a right decision made with no fuss. But it remains 1-0. Eibar still have hope of somehow rescuing a point here. They're much more in the game now than at any previous stage. There's a poor cross from Inui as he slipped. Casemiro gets it away. Nacho to Arribas, who's got Vinicius making the run ahead of him, but he goes back to find Mendy. Now Arribas does find Vinicius. Cruz, Benzema and Rodrigo all making runs towards the area as Vinicius gets in a good cross. Benzema wraps up the points. Real Madrid have been under pressure for the last 10 minutes or so, but who else but King Karim is in position with the firm header to ensure for sure that the points will be staying in the capital. 2-0, 18 this season for Benzema. No chance for Dimitrovic, and the game now surely, Rick, is in the bag.
Yeah, you have to say so. Madrid survived Eibar's attack, the weather's attack, and it's a substitute Vinicius who creates it. He's staking his own claim to play in the team, and it's a really well taken header by Benzema, made up for the chance he missed in the air earlier.
And this one, there's no offside anywhere, so it is going to stand. Excellent header, as you say. Missed a harder header than that earlier in the game, earlier in this second half. No mistake there. He is so good in the air, and as you said, Rick, really good work by Vinicius.
He's got a fight on his hands, Vinicius, for that place with Asensio playing like he did today.
Inui getting a shot on target for Eibar, who are going to make changes themselves now.
Just as Madrid take back control, it looks like the torrential rain has eased off.
The weather smiling on them as they start to feel more comfortable all round, both in terms of the environment and in terms of the scoreline. There's a run down the right for Rodrigo, but he won't be able to keep the ball in. There's the confirmation that Arribas was offside a couple of minutes earlier, before Casemiro got the ball in the net. Arribas picking it up. He's been bright since he came on, and that's a nice pass for Benzema, who'll work it onto his right foot to shoot, looking for that far corner, but comfortable save this time for Dimitrovic.
Yeah, Benzema looking to keep up with the top goal scorers in La Liga. Messi and Suarez ahead of him.
Yeah, Messi quite a way ahead of him now, but with that goal, Benzema up to 18, is just one behind Luis Suarez. Messi has 23. Looks like Messi will finish the season as the leading scorer in La Liga again. What a surprise. He will be a point behind Real Madrid, though, he and his Barcelona team after this game. Barca in action on Monday night, very unusually, at home to Real Valladolid, another team who are down in relegation trouble. So on for Eibar comes Miguel Atienza into midfield in place of Pape Diop, and Kevin Rodriguez will play on the right of midfield in place of Pedro Leon. $14 minutes of normal time remaining. And from Eibar's point of view, Rick, it's hard to see how they can come away from this game really with any positives.
Yeah, it's not a good result, and I know they probably expected that, you know, they might leave the Spanish capital with a defeat. They might have at least hoped to have given Madrid a run for their money, and beyond that sort of 10-15 minute spell in the second half, they really haven't created anything.
Well, the only time they really looked like scoring today was when Thibaut Courtois got himself in a muddle with a back pass and had to clear it off his own goal line. Eibar have threatened very rarely, and they've been fairly easily bypassed as well by Real Madrid. They haven't put up too much resistance to them. The home side could easily be up by more than 2 goals. Sense now that maybe Real Madrid are just sitting back, Rick, and playing within themselves, preserve some energy for the challenges that lie ahead, which are considerable.
For sure, that's the sensible thing to do. No need to take too many risks now. Just make sure you get the 3 points and you go second. You're still in the title race ahead of the Clásico next weekend, and then start planning ahead for Liverpool on Tuesday.
How do you see that tie? Do you feel Real Madrid are favourites going into it?
I think would have said they were favourites before Sergio Ramos was injured. Now I think it's going to be much closer. Liverpool have been in quite poor form in the Premier League. They're down in 7th.
In action later tonight as well, aren't they? They'll look to get a win to come into the tie-in form, as Real Madrid are. Excellent play by Vinicius, who is often criticised for his lack of end product. There's never been any question about his ability to beat defenders and get into dangerous positions, but the criticism he's faced is that he doesn't do exactly what he did there, which was find a killer pass or the final shot to make the most of his good approach work.
You're right, Andy, and I'm someone who's often criticised him for it. I think he wastes too many chances. But there, he made no mistake whatsoever. Really pinpoint accuracy on the cross for Benzema.
Lucas Vázquez for Rodrigo. First time strike that he only half hits. Might have come off the bottom of his foot. Maybe grazed it with his studs. You'll see there. Didn't hit it cleanly, and it was straight at Dimitrovic, but it was another decent chance. And if there is any disappointment for Real Madrid today, it's only a minor quibble that they could have had more goals, could have made more of their chances.
Absolutely, and as Kevin said at half-time, you know, it doesn't matter so much today, but when Liverpool play on Tuesday, you might only get 1 or 2 chances, so you can't afford to waste them.
Cross headed away by Arribas. Oliveira and Arbia. At the back for Eibar, who with this will remain next to bottom. Could get worse for them because Alaves, the only team below them, they're level on points. They play tomorrow at home against Celta Vigo, which you would look at as an opportunity perhaps for Alaves to pick up at least a point, which if they do would leave would leave Eibar rock bottom. And now a welcome sight for Real Madrid fans. Not the fact that Karim Benzema isn't going to play anymore in this game, but that he is going to be wrapped up in cotton wool now ahead of Tuesday and Liverpool and El Clasico. If there's a player you want to protect with a substitution in the final minutes, Rick, it's got to be Benzema. He's so important to Real Madrid. We'll just see how this attack pans out as Kike finds himself surrounded here. Can he get a decent ball in? Oh, he's done really well to wriggle free and win a corner. Put behind by Arribas. Just quickly on Benzema. Makes perfect sense for Zidane to rest him in the final few minutes.
Yeah, Zidane will be happy to bring him off and to be in a position where he can do that without too much fear of this game turning against Madrid. They've been quite comfortable.
Another change to be made for Eibar will be on the left-hand side. Cote is coming on. Straight swap at left back. Now the corner is delivered, and that's very comfortable for Thibaut Courtois. Eibar have made all 5 changes now. It looks like Mendilibar hasn't been happy with the performance of his left back today. I don't think he'll have been happy with the performance of anyone in particular.
No, I mean, perhaps Dimitrovic can escape that criticism, but everyone else really hasn't delivered.
Real Madrid have also made their 5 changes. Modric, Isco, Asensio, Marcelo and Benzema being given a break for the latter stages. Here's Rodrigo, plenty of players forward. Vinicius hits the shot. It's cleared away. The way the game looks at the moment, Eibar looking rather bedraggled. Real Madrid could have more chances to make it a bigger winning margin in the last few minutes.
And I'm sure the defensive half of the team is just thinking, well, let's just protect this and keep our clean sheet, whereas the attackers, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Arribas, are like, let's get some goals under our belts.
Especially as you made the point earlier. There's a bizarrely terrible cross there by Inui. Especially as you made the point that they're all playing for places with huge games coming up. They want to be starting, not on the bench, and Rodrigo and Vinicius in particular will be pushing for starts. So they want to do everything they can to catch the eye. Mariano as well, who's come on for Benzema. He's not going to start, but he wants to be towards the forefront of Zidane's thinking if they're chasing goals. Here's Arribas. Back to Cruz. Arribas looks for the return flick from Rodrigo. Mariano can work it on for Lucas Vázquez. Gets away from Cote, who comes back to make the challenge and is behind for a goal kick in the end, much to the disappointment of Lucas Vázquez.
I wonder if he should have hit that cross in earlier than he did instead of trying to beat his man. You can see what he's trying to do.
Not sure whether he's appealing for a corner or a penalty there.
Well, he's not getting either of them, is he?
Kike chests down to Atienza. Now Inui. Oliveira, closed down by Cruz, able to evade that, and pass forward, cut out by Mendy, who's given a disciplined performance, but it's been won back here by Kike, taking on the shot. The snapshot after the ball dropped towards him, over the bar. No concern for Courtois. I was just saying, Rick, it's been a disciplined performance from Mendy today, but he probably won't really enjoy playing in that back three position because it really limits what he can do coming forward. He's been unselfish enough, though, to play that role with discipline.
Yeah, he's been solid, and like you say, he does like to get on the ball and rampage forward. He's quite hard to stop when he's in full flow, Mendy on the left. But when we get to this point of the season where trophies are on the line, you just do what the coach says.
So Rafa Varane has been fully rested today, left on the bench. So he has a chance to be a little fresher for the game against Liverpool. El Clasico also here at the Alfredo Di Stefano. That game next weekend. Next Saturday night, in fact. 9 p.m. kickoff Spanish time. Real Madrid against Barcelona. How are you looking at that one, Rick? What do you expect from that game?
Well, if Madrid go on to win this, as it looks like they will, and Barcelona beat Valladolid, as we expect they will on Monday, it's basically a playoff to decide who gets to fight it out with Atletico for the title. I think if any team, whichever team drops points in that game, will be out of the title race, more or less, and if it's a draw, then Atletico will be in a great position.
That's the result Atletico will want, isn't it? A draw. Both teams dropping points.
It's a real danger of it too, because both Barca and Madrid are playing well at the moment, and it's hard to say one is much stronger than the other.
Real Madrid have dominated recent Clásicos, including a win at Camp Nou earlier in this season, but Barca are looking a very different proposition these days to the team that we saw in the opening weeks of the campaign when that game was staged. It really will be fascinating next weekend.
I think both might operate in the same system, 3-5-2.
Yeah, who would have seen that coming at the start of the season? Ronald Koeman very much stuck with the 4-3-3 at first, didn't he? And Zidane, throughout his managerial career, has always really been a back four manager, but not in recent weeks. Eibar looking for a consolation here. Corner played in towards the far post. Headed away by Vinicius. Sent back for Kevin Rodriguez to send in another cross. Oliveira heads down, and now a chance for Inui, scrambled away by Courtois, getting his hands down quickly to protect his clean sheet.
It looked like quite an unorthodox save from Courtois, but he knew what he was doing. I think he did that maybe to get the ball to bounce further away out of the penalty area instead of back into the danger zone.
Sergi Enrique lays it off. Alvarez forced back. Cote whips in a decent looking cross. Nacho makes sure it doesn't reach Sergi Enrique. Mariano back doing some defensive work. And then Nacho winning the foul, which will take us closer to the final minutes. Just 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. As we see again, Inui's shot. And Courtois, as you say, putting his hands down. A lot of keepers would have just elected to save that with their feet.
Yeah, unorthodox, but he kept it out.
There's Vinicius on the run. Gets away from Porto. Sends the cross, which might yet reach Lucas Vázquez. No, it just curls behind for the goal kick. But Zinedine Zidane today, Rick, has got everything he would have wanted from this game. A win, a clean sheet so far as well, at least, unless Eibar do manage to get one in the last couple of minutes. But perhaps most importantly, a really strong performance. They've looked like a team that is poised to go on a long winning run now.
Yeah, he'll definitely be trying to invoke that spirit they had at the end of last season, where they were so gritty in the final 10 weeks and just made sure they won every single match on their way to picking up the title.
They'll have to go close to that, if not do exactly that this time as well, to make up the 6-point deficit on Atletico. It's been an encouraging start to the run-in today. A minute of normal time to play. Inui with the nice ball for Kike. Cross towards Enrique, who looked like he had a chance to attack that. Nacho appealing that the decision should go his way. And I think probably he has a good point there. It seems that Sergio Enrique took the last touch. But corner is the decision.
And not something that VAR can intervene with.
Rodriguez sends it deep, headed back across goal. Kike falls over as he tries to turn it goalwards. And Mariano brings it away now. Poor pass, cut out by Porto. Oliveira onto Enrique.
Had Casemiro steaming in behind him.
Porto gets it back from Atienza. We move into 3 minutes of added time, with Eibar pushing to get something positive to take out of the game. Inui with the cross, a good looking one as well, not far beyond the dive of Sergi Enrique. So when the starting lineup is announced, Rick, about an hour before kick-off on Tuesday night, what do you expect to see from Zidane in terms of changes from today? Cruz certainly back into midfield.
Cruz in for Isco. I imagine Militao will drop out for Rafa Varane, who was rested today, and I think Asensio will keep that starting spot alongside Karim Benzema. One other question is Marcelo, because he played such an important role today, but you wouldn't have expected him to start on Tuesday.
But if they're going to play the back five, it'll have to be that, won't it, with Ramos out? Unless, who else is going to play at the back? If he moves Mendy out to that wing-back position, then he needs to find someone else to play in defence, and there isn't really an obvious candidate.
It's true, unless he uses Militao again. So maybe that's the choice between Militao and Marcelo.
Here's Kike for Eibar. Kevin Rodriguez ahead of him, looks to square it. There's Mendy showing that defensive discipline we talked about, getting in the right place. And now Arribas sending it long for Vinicius. Can he put a gloss on the scoreline? Into the area, and just couldn't keep clean control of the ball. Allowed Oliveira to come back and make the challenge.
And that should have been number 3 for Real Madrid. I think Vinicius was a bit unselfish there. If he decided he was going to go for that himself, he would have taken a better touch. But instead, I think he wanted to make sure he could slide it across to his strike partner, Rodrigo, and let himself get caught.
It was that touch, wasn't it? That just got it caught under his feet, and Oliveira was able to come back. Arribas, don't think he'll be a serious contender for a start in that left wing-back role on Tuesday and in El Clasico, but he has done well from the bench, Rick.
Yeah, he's looked good. He's been confident when he's got on the ball, some nice touches. Been hard for Eibar players to keep up with him, and I think that a part of that is due to the fact that Eibar, they know this game's gone. It's not like it's, you know, the first half and a chance for them to do something. They know they're leaving here with nothing. But Arribas hasn't put a foot wrong.
Last few seconds, Eibar still trying to find a consolation. Cote will send the cross in. Casemiro in the way. Porto keeps it in, sends in another cross. There's Mendy, who tried to control it. Enrique gets in front of him, but Arribas with another good intervention. And there's going to be a yellow card shown right at the end of the game here. Arribas was heavily caught here as he made the clearance, and it's Porto who gets the yellow card. He's had a bit of a torrid game, really.
Yeah, very disappointing in the first half. He made the mistake that Benzema could have scored from. But he can turn the page on it now because it's all over.
So the final whistle signals 3 points for Real Madrid. They march on in La Liga up to second place, a point above Barcelona. They were in full control of this one. A very good performance from Los Blancos, as we see again the goal that wrapped it up, really. Vinicius doing great work down the left, finding Benzema. His header was very assured, and that made it 2-0, adding to the goal of the opener, scored by the man who's been named the king of the match, Marco Asensio. Excellent performance from him as well. It could have been more. Real Madrid had chances to extend the margin by more than that, but they'll be perfectly happy, Rick, with their day's work.
Yeah, very good performance. 3 points in the bag. The perfect way to return to La Liga action after the international break, and the perfect way to start the run-in for Real Madrid.
So a strong show from the reigning champions. They're not ready to relinquish their crown without a fight. They've picked up all 3 points today, very deservedly so. Real Madrid 2, Eibar 0.
To overcome any difficulty, you must work hand in hand as a team to overcome challenges with talent and determination. Because together, we are stronger. And together, we'll go out onto the field to win. BKT in La Liga, a winning team.
Uh, 2-0. 2-0 in the end, and congratulations, Mr. Kevin Campbell. You got it exactly right.
Joe, you called me at the start of the game, Joe, and you said, what did you say to me? You're not so confident. Listen, that should have been 4 or 5 if we're honest, but we'll take a 2-0, Joe. We'll take a 2-0.
Was it 4 or 5?
No, it was exactly what I said. 2-0.
Right, and all of the times they had the ball in the back of the net, were they legitimate calls and being disallowed?
Yes, they were, Joe. Yes, they were. But you and your mate, Peter Reid, are conspiring against Real Madrid again because Casemiro's one was a penalty.
No. Should they and could they have scored more, Peter Reid, from the 90 minutes that you watched?
Well, I went for 3-0, so if Casemiro's was a penalty,